Repairs to roads, bridges, ports, and rail lines would help lift the U.S. economy and create jobs in the process, but Washington can't agree on how to pay for it all. One critical player is a Pennsylvania congressman and a former car dealer who's following in his father's footsteps. If you want to see a major transportation or infrastructure project funded in this country, you need to know Bill Shuster.
We can be successful. We must be successful.
As the new chairman of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Pennsylvania Republican Bill Shuster will help decide what gets repaved and rebuilt in America and what won't.
If we don't have a vibrant, modern, safe system to get our people and our products around the country and into the global economy, we're not going to be competitive in the world.
It's not the first time a Shuster has held the committee's gavel. His father, Bud, was chairman for 6 years.
My father was very successful in the committee, so it obviously some big shoes to fill. But if I can do about half of what he did, I'll probably be doing pretty well.
Bud Shuster was known as a consensus builder when he chaired the committee, but consensus and compromise are harder to find these days in Washington. Bill Shuster hopes to challenge that.
When you talk about roads and bridges and ports and the infrastructure of this country, there aren't Republicans and Democrat bridges. There are bridges that serve the American people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The top Democrat on the panel sees opportunities for bipartisanship.
He has a lot of friends on the Democratic side, and that's a very strong characteristic in this town that will help him a great deal as chairman.
He's going to need help. Unlike his father, Shuster has no earmarks to offer, and his to-do list is long. Improving passenger rail, upgrading America's inland waterways and ports, and passing a new highway bill in 2014.
To underfund our transportation system, to underfund infrastructure in this country means we're going to have less economic growth, we're going to have less opportunity to create jobs, we're going to be less competitive in the world economy.
Lawmakers from both parties agree the U.S. needs better roads, bridges, and ports, but they disagree on how to pay for those improvements. Business groups, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, support raising the 18.4 cents a gallon federal gas tax. Shuster, unlike many fellow Republicans, doesn't rule that out.
I think first and foremost you have to say everything has to be on the table. We have to look at every avenue to come up with funding. New innovative ways, old ways that we've used, how do we reform them, how do we make them better.
Shuster also wants to improve passenger rail service, but he's skeptical about spending more federal dollars on California's $65 billion high-speed line.
Really the place we ought to be focused is the Northeast Corridor. From Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, Boston. That's the corridor that about 18% of the American people live on 3% of our land mass.
Investing in American infrastructure of any kind, given the budget reality, could prove a tough sell for this former car dealer. Shuster says that experience will help him get America moving again.
In this business that we have, that we're in politics, customer service. Making sure your customers, in this case we call them constituents, that they're happy with the job you're doing. If they're not, they get an opportunity every 2 years to rehire me or fire me.
House Transportation Committee Chairman Bill Shuster, someone you need to know here in Washington. One final note from the world of transportation.